I think one of the more exciting aspects of the Star Wars franchise is that now that we have a new Disney CEO, Bob Chapek, on crafting a brand new Star Wars universe, we're going to see a lot of the animated TV series characters like Ahsoka Tano and Ezra Bridger and more to become a part of this new Star Wars universe. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, thankfully, in case you guys did not know, Kathleen Kennedy no longer has creative control over at Lucasfilm over any of the existing projects that are in the early development phase. So that, of course, includes all the Star Wars TV shows, like Kenobi, The Mandalorian Season 2 and Season 3. Yes, there is a Season 3 in the early works. And not just that, we of course have the new Star Wars trilogy. We have other Star Wars TV shows in the works as well. Now, the thing about Kathleen Kennedy is that we do know that she has been very incompetent as the head of Lucasfilm, and that she doesn't really understand Star Wars down to the core, right? If you ask anybody else at Lucasfilm, they seem to know more about Star Wars than Kathleen Kennedy ever will. If you look at Dave Filoni or Jon Favreau or, anybody around those lines, they know Star Wars legends. They know everything related to the Star Wars canon material and exactly how it should be implemented moving forward, and how the Legends content should return and fit in with the Disney Star Wars universe, and that's exactly what they're working on doing right now. Now, the real interesting aspect here all has to do with Kathleen Kennedy, where, of course, now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are finished with the Skywalker saga, they are focused on their new Star Wars trilogy of films, as well as the new Star Wars universe. It's explained that Disney currently has a major plan in order to create a brighter future for the Star Wars franchise, and to evolve it as a brand moving forward throughout this decade to create a better future for the franchise and for the Star Wars community. However, during and after the premiere of The Rise of Skywalker, many interviews were given to the creators of the sequel trilogy, including Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy, where it's noted that when she was questioned about the Star Wars fans and their role in Star Wars universe, Kennedy went on to reveal that she sees no backlash within the Disney Star Wars era, and that it was the minority of dedicated and passionate fans who destroyed the love of Star Wars for others. It's explained that Kennedy went on to reveal that many fans out there were the ones who created a bigger problem for the Star Wars franchise, and that in her mind, most fans love the Disney Star Wars movies, and that those who have had issues with the films are in the vast minority. Now, when questioned about The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, Kennedy also unveiled that the fans created the Star Wars brand to become quite a controversial topic when it comes to diversity and implementing real-world issues that should be addressed in their new Star Wars films and projects. So let's go over this, because we can see that Kathleen Kennedy had an agenda before her creative control was taken away from her over at Lucasfilm. Now, thankfully, that is no longer a thing. She cannot interfere with any of the creative aspects of the new Star Wars movies and TV shows. It's one of the main reasons as to why I believe we are getting a live-action version of Ahsoka Tano, thankfully, in The Mandalorian Season 2, and that she's actually being used as a little tease of what's to come for the Ahsoka Tano live-action TV series, which, by the way, is actually aimed to be released sometime in 2022 or 2023. That's their aim as of right now. So, the thing about Kathleen Kennedy, we can see that she's completely driven by implementing, personal agendas and real-world issues. That's what she wanted, and that's no longer going to be a thing in the new Star Wars TV series, or, of course, in the new Star Wars trilogy. Will it be a thing in books, novels, and comics? That's a big question open on the table for discussion. I know a lot of you out there have a lot of issues with the High Republic era. I myself think it has a lot of potential as long as it's written right and implemented right into the Star Wars EU, and I'm really looking forward to seeing exactly what they are able to do with that time of, the Jedi and, of course, new Dark Side warriors, to see exactly how that's all going to roll out. So far, though, when we look at everything related to Kathleen Kennedy, of how she blames the fans, of the fans creating the Star Wars brand to become quite controversial, it's not necessarily the fans' fault. It's not the fans' fault in any way, shape, or form. It's actually fans were just fed up with how these Star Wars movies were being developed and exactly how they were actually coming off. How they were actually implementing specific tones that the fans did not agree with. And that, of course, is the big problem here. You know, with Kathleen Kennedy, you know, in charge of the 5 past Star Wars movies, you can see that they had specific tones. It's one of the main reasons as to why they feel so different from the prequels and the originals. It kind of feels more, I'm not quite sure how to explain it, it just feels different to the point where you can't really relate it to being Star Wars consistently. That's the magical word. You know, it doesn't really feel like Star Wars on a consistent level, where at times it feels like Star Wars, there's no denying that, but there's other times in these Disney Star Wars movies where it just feels so off and out of place, and maybe a little bit too attached to the real world, right? So with that being said, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.